I'm going to share a list of things that we can use prophylactically, kind of ahead of time to maintain our immune systems, as well as things that we can do if we do end up in a situation where we are sick. So here's the list that I recommended initially. Contrast showers. So basically that's hot and cold showers. Hot shower followed by 30 seconds to a minute of cold shower, and then do hot again and cold again for the same amount of time. And that will, for three rotations of that, and that aids immune system stimulation and the raising of the immune system. A friend of mine, Dr. Joyce Chubb, had some friends who had pneumonia, and at least on 2 occasions, she recommended that to some individuals, doing that directly to the chest, and they were able to reverse their advancing pneumonia symptoms by stimulating the immune system of their lungs. So that was huge. But it's an overall immune stimulant over the entire body. I recommended eucalyptus essential oil, astragalus tea. Astragalus is an antiviral. Padiarco tea is also antiviral in nature, as well as a host of other things, but particularly thinking in the antiviral realm. Oil of oregano, we've talked about that before. Having a pot of steaming oil of oregano, essential oil, that is, you can breathe the vapors gently. You don't want to sear your lungs, so you want to do that carefully. And that coats the respiratory tracts with a protectant, the oil of oregano. Vitamin C, we know that that's a very good immune support system. Vitamin D, especially this time of year, is critical because we don't have the sun at a high enough strength to do the vitamin D activation in our skin.
Yes.
Zinc. So zinc actually helps to disrupt viral infection. And then some onion, garlic, and turmeric used liberally. Cod liver oil and NAC. That's a good thing that Dr. Nedley recommended early on. Quercetin, zinc, again, vitamin D. They used turmeric. They used astragalus caps, so powdered astragalus versus the tea, which is fine. Eucalyptus and oil of oregano. Some fever reduction things are essential oil of eucalyptus, peppermint, and frankincense can all help in fever reduction, as well as some hydrotherapy measures. A wet sheet wrap. So just take a wet sheet, wrap yourself in a wet sheet, or wrap your patient in a wet sheet and a blanket, and that'll draw the heat out. If you have a chest issue, you can do the wet t-shirt with a wool sweater over top of it and go to bed with it. And that's a hydrotherapy treatment that can help reduce fevers and inflammation. So fever does heal, but you want to also not let it. 103 is getting kind of up in the upper end of the spectrum there. So you don't want to be getting higher than that without having some other issues going on. I remember as a kid having a high fever. I think it was 104, 105, and I was getting delirious. If you get up in there, you can start denaturing proteins, and you can lose function, mental function essentially, with excessively high fever. So fever does function. In fact, you can do fever treatments where you raise your body temperature on purpose. If fevers get high, they need to be controlled. And headaches in general, lavender, peppermint, frankincense rubbed on the temples can be helpful for that. But if dehydration is an underlying issue, that's not going to be the best approach. And then anytime you're coming out of being sick, you want to not overdo it when you're coming out, because it's easy to relapse and rebound backwards. So just take it easy on your way out. Don't overdo it. Yeah, hydrotherapy is a big tool that we can use. And knowing some of these things ahead of time on the leading edge of something like COVID or any illness, really, so that you can take care of, or try to mitigate and minimize symptoms and maybe help them through symptoms before having to go to a hospital-based intervention. Because there if you have a severe issue, they can certainly help out, but you tend to lose autonomy when you go into a critical care situation. Something that I would use at home with myself and with my family I kind of put together a virus protection protocol. Oregano talks about a vegetable broth that can be used for an immune system protectants, vitamin C and D, zinc, colloidal silver, eucalyptus essential oil, and Douglas fir and Siberian fir essential oils. That's kind of in the light of the scientific discoveries of the benefits of forest bathing. Just knowing that the oils that pine, cedar, and fir give off have been shown to give at least a week-long residual effect in folks. Actually, I think they had up to 30 days effect, a significant effect over a week's period of time for people having been out in the natural world taking a hike in the presence of pine, cedar, and fir. So that was very beneficial. And they actually did a double-blind, not a double-blind, but they did a test where they had medical students who were doing their rounds in the city, not quitting their rounds. They diffused, I think it was a cypress oil in their sleeping quarters, and they found the same level of immune system enhancement as if they had taken some time off and gone and taken a forest walk instead. So it did have therapeutic benefit in that regard. So, and again, don't underestimate the power of hydrotherapy, but also, you have to read your body and use the remedies that God has put in our hands, as well as lean on divine power, and also just keep in mind the frame of reference too, that there can be additional help too within the realm of medicine when needed.